everybody, it's the Voodoo Doll from Noir Grimoire, and today we are going to talk about generating sigils, how to create a sigil. Now, of course, we all have seen the sigil generator. Kamea, I think, is one that I used to use before I found out how to do it myself. People have been creating sigils before cell phones were invented, and it's much easier and it strengthens your practice to be able to figure it out yourself. Well, there are several methods on how to create sigils. Some of them say, trying to just draw images with the letters and things like that. I have never done that. It's a little too sloppy for me. I need something that's a little bit more organized. This is a very super simple way to do this. I did not invent this. I got it online years ago when I first started trying to do my own sigils. So this is a chart that I have. On this chart, let me see, there we go. So you have the alphabet. So you have 9 rows, 9 columns and 4 rows. So what you want to do is you want to copy this. So each letter is going to have a number assigned with it. So you want to make a master sheet. I would suggest if you have a copier, copying this down and leaving this blank, and copying 30 of them, and then every time you want to do a sigil, you just take this out and you can draw and sketch on here, make your sigil, and then keep these. Don't throw it away. Once you have the sigil down, you know what it means to you. Instead of having to redraw and refigure it out every single time, have a little sigil book or section in your grimoire. I like to, I have a paper puncher that I use, and I'll go ahead and punch papers like these, and I have little sections in that binder of things that I want to keep. So on the bottom here you have a chart of numbers. There you got 9 numbers. So that's the basis of how we're going to figure out our sigils. So when you're figuring out and creating a sigil, what you want to do is you want to come up with the word, and you're going to write that word down. You're going to cross out all the vowels and repeating letters. So let's use money as the first example. So we have here money. So as you see, I have crossed out the O and the E. So what I am left with is M, N, Y. Then I'm going to write the numeric correspondence for each letter below. So I have here a 4, 5, 7, I believe. Yeah, 4, 5, 7. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the first number of that word in my chart. So the first one is 4. So when you're starting a sigil, you start it with a little circle. You can see that little circle. You just draw a tiny little circle, and that means this is where the sigil began. So 4. I'm going to draw straight down to 5, which is my N, and then straight over to 7, which is my Y. When I'm done creating the sigil, then I put a little bar, and that means this is the end. So I'm going to start here, and this is the end. So this is what it looks like. So anytime I'm drawing it, and now I'm going to have my little circle, start there, down, and that is the sigil for money. So if I wanted to inscribe this on a candle, now I have a simple sigil instead of, sometimes when we're carving candles and, writing stuff, when we're trying to write down money, abundance, and all that shit on a candle, and hands are cramping because you have your porcupine quill, your needle, or whatever you're carving it with. This is a much easier way to inscribe your candles and your magic. Now, if I'm doing baneful work and I'm trying to figure out what I want to write on there, I may write, like impotence or whatever it is. I will figure out all the words I want to use in that curse. I will figure them out. I'll have the sigil for each one, and then I place the sigil, whether I'm carving it into the animal's head or part, if I'm carving it into the candle, if I'm writing it in blood, whatever I'm doing, I at least have these sigils, and now I can use those appropriately without wasting my time and energy and trying to, write all these words out. I feel like the sigils have much more energy than words. So let's take another one. So what if we have one that has repeating letters and vowels? So we have happiness. So I've crossed out the vowels, and I'm also going to cross out one P and one S. So the letters I have left, I have H, P, and S. I'm going to write the numbers that correspond to those letters. I have 8751, I believe, yes, 8751. You see here, I have my little circle, that's where I started. 8751. It ends, I put my little strike, and I take it, transfer it over here. This is my sigil for happiness. So I would go ahead and inscribe that on my candles if I'm doing work for love, happiness. Go ahead and use those on the candles. So now if you're making your little grimoire and you had happiness and money, now you have two little things in your grimoire, and just keep these. Keep the, you know, the whole paper. The thing that showed you how to make the sigil, and then the sigil itself. And now you have a whole little book. So every time you create a sigil for a word, that's why I'm saying copy it, go to Kinko's or whatever, and copy this 100 times if you need to. And then write it on here, paper punch it, and put it in a binder, and then you have a sigil grimoire. Now, it's important when we make a sigil, it's not just to slap it on something. Like, you need to activate it. How do we activate a sigil? So you can activate a sigil several ways. Now, we know if we're using demons, so we would open those seals and activate those sigils with blood. I normally would use my own blood. If I am working with sigils, like say the sigil for money, I would anoint this sigil or open this sigil with money oil, so, you know, abundance oil, whatever I've mixed up, I would anoint that candle or the sigil. If I'm keeping the sigil on paper, I would anoint the paper. If I'm putting the sigil on the candle, I would anoint the candle. So if I'm keeping it on paper and I'm just, you know, writing it on a scratch of paper bag or whatever, I would anoint that paper with money oil. Another thing you can do too is just staring at a sigil and putting your intent into it. So if I'm trying to generate money, again, I'll use the sigil, and I have the sigil written on a little piece of paper that I'm going to tuck somewhere in my ritual. If I'm going to put it in a mojo bag, or if I'm going to, you know, put it under herbs on a plate and burn a candle over it, I would take that piece of paper and just stare into it. And you don't focus on it, you kind of let your eyes just go lazy. Like, imagine when you're looking at those little fun things where it says stare at this, and all of a sudden an image comes out and you have to let your eyes relax. That's what I would do for this, and that's what I call opening a sigil. So if I was doing love magic and I didn't want to use my own blood and I had my sigil for love, I may anoint that sigil with honey and sugar. Whatever means the association of what you're doing to you. If you're doing baneful magic, you know, maybe I would use pepper and vinegar. I don't know, whatever associates with what you're trying to do. There really is no wrong way. And as far as closing sigils, you can bury them if you want lasting results. Like if I'm doing something for money and I want lasting results, I would probably bury that in the earth. I would bury it in dirt, or I would keep it in a drawer or someplace dark and hidden until whatever I wanted manifested came about. Then I could get rid of that piece of paper. Or, you know, just leave it in the earth if I want it to last forever. You know, we want money in abundance forever, so I would bury that. If I'm trying to really expedite something or release something, I would burn it. Go ahead and set it on fire. So you've activated the sigil, and say it's for clarity or something like that. I'm doing a spell for clarity or for healing. Once I get done working with that sigil, I could light it on fire and just release it into the universe. I'm letting it go, I'm expediting it, and I'm releasing it into the ether. That's burning. If you're doing baneful magic, you could burn a sigil. You know, if you've done a curse and you're done with that sigil and you want to release that magic with expediency and rage, and you got all your rage in there and just want to let it go, you can burn that. You could flush a sigil down the toilet if you were doing something where you wanted someone to get the fuck away from you and you're doing a protective spell. Go ahead and work with that sigil and then ball it up, throw it down the toilet, throw it in the trash, throw it in a river, you know, something that's moving away from you if you want. Tie a rock to it and throw it in the ocean if you want that person to feel lost or submerged in whatever curse that you have given to them. There's a lot of things that you can create to charge your sigils, to close your sigils. There really isn't a wrong way. Listen to your spirit and let your intuition guide you. So that is the easy, hopefully easy, quick way of how we can create our own sigils to amplify our magic, to amplify our work, creating a sigil for your name. If you're writing out petitions at the full moon and, you know, I'm manifesting this, I'm going to manifest this husband, this whatever, go ahead and create your own sigil and start writing your sigil on all of your work. You know, so I wrote this petition, I put my sigil on it, I put my blood on the sigil, and normally I will burn it once I'm done. And I usually open and enliven everything with my blood. That's the strongest connection that you could use, is your blood. It's the strongest offering you can give any demon. It's the strongest thing that you can use, period, is blood. Everything else really is just a substitute. So do what feels good to you. That is the crash course of sigils. If you have any questions, of course, I'm here for you. Go ahead and email me, and I hope you all have a great and blessed day.